Have you ever cried without knowing why? Have you ever met someone for the first time, and yet your soul whispered, "I've known you forever"? These are not random emotions, these are soul-level perceptions. This is your body remembering what your mind forgot. In a world ruled by logic, intuition becomes rebellion. But your body, your sacred vessel, still listens, and sometimes it speaks before your mind catches up. Your soul connection, your spiritual awakening, your sacred memory. They don't always speak in words. Sometimes they come as goosebumps, as silent tears, as a heartbeat racing at the sight of a stranger. Sometimes they arrive in the form of divine discomfort, when your body retreats, your energy shifts, and you just know something is off, even if nothing makes sense. Have you ever felt a love so deep it felt ancient? A fear so sharp but without a source? Could it be that your soul remembers, even when your mind does not? Could your body be the instrument that heaven plays, whispering truths your logic can't name? In this video, you'll discover why your body reacts before your mind understands, the signs of a spiritual awakening your soul has been longing for, what it really means when you feel a deep, unexplained connection with someone, and how to finally listen to the sacred messages your body has been trying to tell you all along. Stay with me. Because once you understand this, you'll never see your weird feelings the same again. You're not broken. You're remembering. If your soul has ever cried without reason, if you felt a connection that defied logic, tell me in the comments. My soul knew first. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone whose heart needs to hear this today, because you are not alone. Let's begin. There are moments when your body trembles for no reason. Your chest tightens. Your breath shortens. You walk into a room and feel a sudden wave of heaviness or peace, even before anyone speaks. This is not your imagination. This is not anxiety. This is your body knowing before your mind does. This is sacred intelligence, a divine mechanism encoded deep within you, beyond logic, beyond reason. The body is not just flesh and bone. It is a temple, a tuning fork, a sacred memory keeper. It carries echoes of places you've never been, people you've never met, and memories you can't name, because they're not from this lifetime, and yet they live within you. The trembling hands, the sudden tears, the magnetic pull toward or away from something, these are not coincidences. These are signs. The body is the first to respond to the soul's memory. Have you ever found yourself crying in a worship song, or standing in silence before a mountain or ocean and suddenly being overcome by the sense that you are home, that you are seen, known, held by something bigger? This is soul recognition, and your body feels it before your intellect can define it. Romans 8:26 speaks of this very mystery. The Spirit intercedes for us through wordless groans. Wordless groans. These are not thoughts. These are sacred signals from a realm beyond language. You may not remember the moment your soul was formed, but your body does. It responds to frequencies, to sacred geometry, to the vibration of truth. That gut feeling when you know someone isn't safe, or that goosebump moment when you meet someone and instantly feel seen, that is spiritual memory, not social intuition. And this is where the awakening begins. When your spiritual awakening starts, it rarely looks like enlightenment. It often looks like breaking, isolation, emotional floods with no explanation. You begin to cry more often, but you're not sure why. You walk away from conversations feeling drained, though nothing offensive was said. You start to hear the world more deeply. A song will echo through your body, as if it's speaking only to you. You meet a stranger, and your soul whispers, "Them. I've met them before." These are not signs of instability. These are signs that your soul is waking up. You may begin to notice that you're living in two timelines at once. There is the version of you who goes to work, speaks politely, plays the part. And there is another version, deeper, softer, eternal, that watches. That version begins to emerge when your body finally refuses to suppress the sacred truths any longer. You feel split. You feel called. You start to remember that life is not just about survival. It is about return. Return to self. Return to source. This awakening also comes with dissonance. You may start avoiding places, people, even certain foods, without knowing why. What once brought pleasure now brings discomfort. The places where you once felt belonging now feel hollow. It's not because you've changed tastes. It's because your energy has shifted. Your soul is starting to speak louder than the programming. You might find yourself attracted to nature again. Barefoot in the grass, hands in the earth, eyes toward the stars. You begin talking to God not with rehearsed prayers, but with breath, with silence, with tears. You start noticing repeating numbers, synchronicities, messages in songs and dreams. The veil begins to lift, and here's the holy paradox. This awakening will not always feel beautiful. It may feel like grief. It may feel like you are losing everything. Friendships, career goals, even your sense of identity. But perhaps you're not losing anything at all. Perhaps you are being peeled open. Perhaps the discomfort is not a sign of disconnection, but reunion. The false layers are being removed, and the soul, the true self, is taking the lead. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. But you are not here by accident. Every emotion that you've been told is too much. Every wave of inexplicable joy, every ache of ancient sadness, is not a flaw in your system. It is a message from the part of you that never forgets, your soul. And your body is the amplifier. So when your heart beats faster around someone, when your spirit quiets in a certain place, when your whole being says yes, even though your brain says it doesn't make sense, trust that. That is your truth before translation. That is the divine before doctrine. That is home calling. You are not broken for feeling deeply. You are not lost because your emotions don't always make sense. You are simply remembering. And so I ask you, not just as a question, but as a call. What if the emotions that make no sense are the most sacred parts of you trying to speak? What if too sensitive really means spiritually in tune? If this has ever happened to you, if your soul recognized someone before your mind caught up, if your body has cried without reason, share it in the comments. I've felt this. You are not the only one. There are others who are walking this remembering too. And if you've been holding it in, the strange longings, the sudden grief, the holy goosebumps that arrive without warning, know this. You are being invited into a deeper knowing. A sacred union between body, soul, and spirit. Let your body feel. Let your spirit guide. Let your heart listen. We are only just beginning. There are people we meet who stir something ancient within us. Before they say a word, before we know their story, something deep inside recognizes them. The heart beats faster, the air feels different, you catch your breath. And though your mind scrambles for logic, I don't even know this person, your soul already knows. This isn't infatuation, this isn't coincidence. This is a soul connection, the kind that defies reason and dances in the realm of memory, energy, and sacred design. Sometimes these connections are tender, sometimes they're intense, disruptive, even painful. But always, always, they are awakening. Your spirit is responding not to the physical, but to the energetic signature of that person's soul. You don't need to remember a shared past for your body to respond. Your soul remembers. Maybe in a lifetime before this, you walked together. Maybe you made a promise. Maybe your paths are meeting again, not to stay, but to stir what has been dormant in you for too long. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt like you were falling through time? Have you ever heard a stranger's voice and felt comforted like a child hearing their mother hum? Have you ever felt grief leaving someone you never really had? These are not signs of emotional weakness. These are signs of spiritual memory being triggered. And when your soul sees what your mind cannot explain, your emotions will often rise without invitation. You may feel an overwhelming pull toward them, a warmth, a longing, a resonance that feels like home. Or the opposite, you might feel an unshakable unease, a strong urge to run. Either way, your body is speaking the language of your soul. The connection is real, even if it's not meant to last. Not every soul that enters your life is meant to stay. Some come to remind you of who you are. Some come to teach. Some come to trigger healing, and some come to awaken you, even through heartbreak. It is tempting to explain away these emotions. We try to label them crush, coincidence, projection, but the truth is, not every sacred encounter fits a category. When your heart is lit aflame by someone who barely knows your name, it could be that your spirit recognizes their essence, not their current form. And in that moment, you are touching something eternal. We don't always understand why someone enters our lives, but when a connection bypasses the intellect and lives in the body, it is often a divine appointment. Think of Ruth and Naomi. Think of David and Jonathan. Think of Mary and Elizabeth, whose babies leapt in their wombs before a single word was spoken. These are not random interactions. They are divine collisions. And here is the holy tension. Not every connection is meant to stay. Some are here to break something open in you, to awaken a part of your soul that has been asleep. The pain that follows is not punishment, it's preparation. Every connection, no matter how brief, can be holy, even the ones that end in silence, even the ones that never began. So if you've ever loved someone before you understood why, if you've ever grieved a goodbye that never had a hello, if you've ever felt known in someone's presence, even for a moment, you are not crazy. You are connected. Share it in the comments if this has ever happened to you. Simply write, "My soul knew first." You'll be surprised how many others have carried this mystery alone, but there's something even more profound. Learning to stop explaining, because not everything sacred needs to be solved. Some of the most powerful moments in your life won't come with clarity, but with presence. The urge to understand, to categorize, to dissect, it's human. But the call to listen, that is divine. You don't need to explain why that song made you cry, why that person's smile broke you open, why your whole body told you to leave that room. You are not a puzzle to be solved. You are a temple to be reverenced. The Spirit doesn't always send answers. Sometimes she sends silence. Goosebumps, tears, stillness. Healing begins the moment you stop fighting to understand and start learning to feel without fear. We were raised in a world that told us to trust logic and suppress intuition. But what if your intuition is a language from heaven? What if your emotions are not barriers to truth but bridges to it? And what if the body, this sacred trembling vessel, is the first prophet we were given? When Elijah was hiding in the cave, desperate to hear God, he looked for answers in the wind, the earthquake, and the fire. But the voice of the Lord came in a gentle whisper, a sound too soft for logic, but loud enough for the soul. Maybe your answers won't arrive as conclusions. Maybe they'll arrive as tears, goosebumps, or that sudden peace you feel in the arms of someone who speaks no words but feels like home. So stop asking, "Why do I feel this?" Start saying, "I feel this," and that is enough. You don't need to be able to name it to trust it. You don't need to be able to explain it to honor it. There is sacredness in surrender. There is holiness in mystery. And the body, your body, is a sacred compass pointing you home again and again. When you stop analyzing every tear, every tremble, every tug in your chest, when you start simply being present, you create space for healing, deep, lasting, soul-level healing. That is when the Spirit can do her most beautiful work, in the quiet, in the unspoken, in the raw. Let the sacred ache remain sacred. Let the unnamed feeling remain unnamed. You don't have to reduce a holy encounter to a logical answer. Let it be what it is, a moment of God touching your soul through the veil of this world. And when the mind lets go of control, the soul begins to lead. This is the beginning of listening, not just with ears, but with your heart, your skin, your silence. This is the way home. You are not lost. You are layered. And beneath all the roles, the expectations, the wounds and the noise, there is a deeper you. The real you, the sacred self that was formed before the foundations of the earth, the one that still remembers what your mind forgot. The one who still hears the whisper of heaven even in the midst of chaos. But in a world that demands performance over presence and reaction over reflection, this you can go silent. Not because it's gone, but because you've forgotten how to listen. To reconnect with your true self, your soul, your essence, your divine blueprint, you don't need more information. You need sacred practices that open the space for remembrance. You don't need to strive. You need to soften. These are not steps for productivity. These are invitations into presence. Here are 3 holy, healing, and practical ways to begin that return. 1. Write without judgment. Feel without fixing. The soul doesn't speak in essays or explanations. It speaks in fragments. In flickers, in images and impressions. To hear it again, you must give it permission to speak freely, not as you think it should, but as it actually is. Begin each day or each moment of heaviness with this simple ritual. Take a blank page. No structure, no filter. Just write, today I feel so, or my body is saying well, or even, I don't know what this is, but I feel. Let the words flow. Let yourself be unsure. Let the paper hold what you cannot yet name. One woman wrote, I feel light but sad. I feel a longing that isn't mine. I feel like I'm remembering someone I haven't met yet. She didn't know what it meant. But in writing it, her soul exhaled. This is healing. Not fixing, not solving, but allowing. When you let your emotions exist without judgment, you open the door to the deeper self. You remind the sacred part of you, you are welcome here. If you've ever written down a feeling you didn't understand and felt relief, share it in the comments. Writing helped me remember. You never know who might need your witness. 2. Breathe and whisper what you cannot say aloud. There are days when your mind is too crowded to pray, when your heart feels too tangled to explain what hurts. But heaven never asked you for perfect prayers. Heaven asked for honesty, and sometimes the most sacred prayer is a whisper. I'm here. I don't know what to do, but I want to stay open. God, I feel lost, but I'm listening. When you feel disconnected from your soul, don't force clarity. Just sit in stillness. Place your hand on your heart or stomach. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. This rhythm, the inhale and exhale, is the original covenant. It is the breath that was breathed into Adam. It is the wind Elijah heard in the cave. It is the invisible spirit that gives life to dust. One man told me he began every morning not with a to-do list, but with 5 deep breaths and this prayer, Spirit, breathe in me again. He said it didn't always bring answers, but it always brought peace, because presence is the answer. So when the questions feel too heavy, when the connection feels faint, come back to breath. Come back to the wind, come back to the whisper. 3. Read what your soul already knows, even if your mind has forgotten. There are sacred words that carry codes, scriptures, poems, ancient blessings. They carry energy, memory, and resonance. When read aloud, not as doctrine, but as dialogue, they wake something in the soul. They stir the water. They remind you that before you were hurt, confused, or lost, you were known. Psalm 139 is one of those soul reminder scriptures. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. This is not just theology. This is spiritual memory. This is sacred identity. When you feel fragmented, recite this aloud, not as a ritual, but as a reunion. Whisper it when you feel invisible. Declare it when you feel broken. You saw my unformed body. All my days were written in your book. One teenager I worked with had been struggling with self-worth for years. Every morning I asked him to read Psalm 139 like a love letter, slowly, looking in the mirror. At first it felt awkward. But weeks later he told me, "I'm starting to believe that I am not just a mistake God tolerates. I'm someone God dreamed about." That is what sacred reading does. It doesn't teach your soul, it reminds it. Read slowly. Read softly. Let the words echo. Let them break you open and sew you back together in the same breath. These three sacred practices, writing without judgment, breathing with presence, and reading what your soul remembers, are not steps to become something new. They are gateways back to the you that has always been. The child version, the soul version, the eternal version, and the more you return, the more familiar it feels. Like coming home to a house you forgot you built, like hearing your mother's voice in a dream, like the first breath after a long underwater silence. The world will try to convince you that your worth comes from what you know, how you perform, how well you explain yourself. But the truth is, you are worthy because you were formed with intention. Your soul already carries everything you need to remember. The sacred self is not missing. It's waiting, waiting for stillness, waiting for tenderness, waiting for you. If one of these practices has helped you reconnect with yourself, share it in the comments. Not for attention, but as a blessing for someone else who might feel alone in their remembering. Maybe your whisper will be the wind someone else needs. And as you begin again, with a pen, with a breath, with a scripture, may you feel the nearness of the one who formed you, the one who knows your name beneath all names, the one who says, "You are mine, you are whole, you are already home, let us continue." You are not too much, you are not broken, you're simply remembering, and remembrance is rarely quiet. It stirs, it aches, it heals. If your heart trembled during this journey, if something in you felt spoken to, not your mind, but the deeper part, the part without language, then maybe what you felt wasn't new. Maybe it was ancient. Maybe it was your soul memory rising to the surface, whispering that you were never disconnected, only distracted. This is the beauty of awakening. It doesn't demand that you become someone else. It gently returns you to who you were before the world told you who to be. The spiritual self, the body wisdom, the sacred perception that senses energy before logic, that remembers love before timelines, that trusts the mystery before the mind has proof. Every emotion you thought was irrational, the tears that came out of nowhere, the peace you felt in the arms of someone you barely knew, the pull away from places that looked safe but felt wrong. None of it was foolish. It was real, and it was holy. This journey has not been about explaining what you feel. It's about finally trusting it, honoring your body's wisdom, your intuitive knowing, your spirit's whispers. This is the journey back to soul truth. And it's not always beautiful. Sometimes it looks like sitting in silence with nothing to say. Sometimes it feels like crying in the middle of a song you didn't expect to touch you. Sometimes it means saying goodbye to a connection that once felt eternal, not because it wasn't sacred, but because its purpose was to awaken, not to remain. You've felt things you can't explain. You've remembered people you never met. You've longed for something this world can't name. That doesn't make you naive. That makes you sensitive in the holiest way, a soul in tune with eternity. Maybe you've spent years thinking your emotions were too much, that your longing for deeper meaning was a flaw, but now you see they were the call. They were the invitation. They were the gentle knock of God reminding you, you are still mine. You are still whole. And now, at the end of this sacred reflection, you may feel tender. That's good. Let that stay. That tenderness is the presence of the Spirit moving through you. Don't rush to close it. Don't try to solve it. Let it breathe. Let it rest in you. If this video has given your soul a place to exhale, if it reminded you that you're not alone in your deep, wordless feelings, I invite you to let me know. Not for numbers, for connection, for resonance. Share in the comments. I've felt this too. You have no idea how healing it is for others to see they're not walking this strange, holy path alone. If this reflection stirred a memory in you, or helped you name something you thought you'd buried, share that too. What part of today's message spoke most deeply to your spirit? What did your body respond to first? I read every message, and each one feels like a candle, proof that light still moves in this world. And if you feel called to offer something in return, not out of pressure, but out of resonance, I welcome any small gesture of energy that helps me continue creating this space for others. Whether it's a kind word, a shared video, or a quiet support from the heart, every offering helps me bring more of this soul work into the world. If this video helped you find light in a dark season or gave your spirit a place to land, know that your presence and your encouragement mean more than I can say. So, if this felt like a homecoming for your soul, I invite you, softly but sincerely, to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join this circle of remembering. There are more whispers to uncover, more truths to unearth, more healing to be done, and together we can keep creating spaces where it is safe to feel, safe to remember, and safe to awaken. Thank you, not just for watching, but for being, for listening, for bringing your sacred self here, even if only for a moment. I honor your heart. I honor your journey. I thank you with all of mine.